Good morning, friends. Anne here. Got my cup of coffee, got the Word of God, and today's reading is from Mark chapter 9, verses 14 through 29. Here we read about another healing that Jesus did, another miracle, a miraculous healing of this boy that was possessed with a demon. The demon was causing him to be mute, to not be able to speak. And it had been this way since he was a very little boy, and the demon would throw him into the water or throw him into the fire in the attempt to kill him or harm him. And they had been dealing with this for so long. The man came to Jesus's disciples and asked the disciples to heal the boy, but they were unable to. Listen to part of this passage. It says, one of the men in the crowd spoke up and said, "Teacher, I brought my son so you could heal him. He is possessed by an evil spirit that won't let him talk. And whenever this spirit seizes him, it throws him violently on the ground. Then he foams at the mouth and grinds his teeth and becomes rigid. So I asked your disciples to cast out the evil spirit, but they couldn't do it." Jesus said to them, "You faithless people, how long must I be with you? How long must I put up with you? Bring the boy to me." Friends, I don't know if you caught that, but it sure sounded like Jesus was a bit annoyed. And who was he annoyed with? Well, it was not the man whose son was demon possessed, but he was annoyed with his disciples. He was annoyed with them because of their lack of faith, because he had sent them out with his power and his authority, and they had not walked in that power and that authority fully, which is the reason that they were not able to cast out this demon. And so then we read that they brought the boy to Jesus, and the boy began to violently convulse. Jesus casts out the demon, and then he turns to his disciples. Afterward, when Jesus was alone in the house with his disciples, they asked him, "Why couldn't we cast out that evil spirit?" Jesus replied, "This kind can only be cast out by prayer and fasting." Friends, here's the thing that occurs to me about this passage, is that doing the work of God without the power of God gets you nowhere. Friends, Jesus was annoyed with his disciples because they were not walking in the power that they had been given. He had given them power and authority, and they were not walking in it. They were not making sure that they continued to be in the center of that power. What was required was spiritual disciplines like prayer and fasting to make sure that they were operating out of God's power and not their own power. And I think the same is true for us today. If we walk around doing the work of God without the power of God, it leads to nothing. There is no transformation. There is no meaning in the work that we do. There is no power. So friends, today, as you go about doing the work that God has called you to do and equipped you to do, make sure that you are walking in the power of God. Because doing the work of God without the power of God gets you nowhere. Have a good day.